Hey guys, welcome back to another Minecraft video. Today I'm a little dissatisfied with how my house ended up going, and so as a result of that, I'm just gonna go ahead and try and do some work on that, do some work trying to rebuild my house, and try and see where that goes from here. All right, just gotta get up this waterfall and we will be all good. I had Taco Bell the other day. I really like Taco Bell because it gives you, sort of the illusion of like authenticity. So much of fast food and stuff, like you know exactly what you're gonna get with it. Like, you go to McDonald's and you know exactly what you're gonna get. Me myself, I get the chicken McNuggets 100% of the time. I don't even try and worry about the burgers, which is really interesting because McDonald's is like known for their burgers, and so like that's a whole thing. That's how they started. You got that whole world in the McDonald's franchise. The whole McDonald land with Ronald McDonald, and you know you have the Hamburglar and all those people. I think you got like Mayor McCheese too. Like, I don't know how the marketing team at McDonald's came up with all these guys. More so, I don't really know how exactly Ronald McDonald fits into that McDonald Land universe. Like, is the McDonald Land universe like a spawn of what Ronald is capable of as a human? Is he even human? He's like a clown, human, mythical beast type of thing. And so, how does he fit into this world where you have large purple creatures and politicians who are cheeseheads? And well, I mean, that kind of makes more sense in today's system. But I digress. So I went to Taco Bell. And I got some tacos. And what I really like about Taco Bell, I got all of these Taco Bell gift cards for Christmas. And I really enjoyed having those Taco Bell gift cards for Christmas. That's what I do a lot of the time during Christmas. I typically like to ask for like one or two restaurants, and this year I asked for Taco Bell and Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A. I like Chick-fil-A. I think that Chick-fil-A is a lot better than a lot of other chicken restaurants, and you can fight me on that. You can fight me on their stances on some stuff. You can fight me on all that, but you will not win. You will not win because I know my stuff. I know about all the things, and I'm ready. I'm ready for it. So come at me. Come at me, bro. So anyway, I went to Taco Bell and I got some tacos, and I bit into those tacos, and they were pretty good. They were pretty good. I don't really consider them tacos. I know they're filled with the same stuff and all that. But if you were to ask me what like authentic tacos are, I'd go to like an authentic taco shop. I wouldn't go to like Taco Bell to get the authentic experience. Taco Bell is sort of like Taco Bell is the equivalent of the guy that says, "Oh, I want Coke," and the waiter says, "Is Pepsi okay?" Taco Bell is basically that. You're in a pinch, you got a hankering for some tacos and maybe a bean burrito, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go to Taco Bell because this is my life. This is where I've gone in the direction that I am. And it's very interesting how Taco Bell handles their customers, because I go to a lot of different Taco Bells all around where I live, and I don't have a very specific Taco Bell that I go to. I mean, there's one that's pretty close to my house, but I can always go to the one that's a little bit further away, depending on where I'm coming from, where I'm going. I typically don't go out just to get drive-through. I typically try and do much more when I try and do it, because, unless I'm trying to pick up for myself and I just don't really want to cook or anything like that, I typically try and go out and just like, if I need to get drive through or something, I'll be like, okay, I'll get some reeds for my clarinet because I play clarinet, or yeah, I need to go to the store anyway, pick up my brother because I drive him to the store and all of that. And so that's typically what I like to do when it comes to doing drive-through. Of course, there will be times where I'm just like, okay, I'm just gonna go and drive through and pick up like McDonald's, and then I'll question the McDonald's lore from time to time, and but in all honesty, who hasn't questioned the McDonald's lore? I mean, you got this clown, and first of all, why did they have a clown? The clown is pretty freaking freaky. You know what I'm saying? They really did not try and hesitate on how creepy Ronald McDonald is. But then you got this clown, and is he the king? Or no, because there's like a political system, right, in McDonald land. And what happens to the children that Ronald McDonald takes to McDonald's land? Do they go home? Or do they have infinite access? What's the legality of McDonald's land? What's the immigration status? Can somebody just show up without like a visa or a green card or anything like that? I don't really understand. I don't understand how these children and how Ronald himself can say that they're pro, U.S. ideas and then not have any sort of immigration or vetting system when it comes to their McDonald's land. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. You just have this one guy and he shows up and, when McDonald's land is in a pinch and they need more workers or they need more people to exist in their land to profit, they just go across other borders and, pick up children. And, America, has a long history of child labor, but that's not really something that happens anymore. You don't see a whole lot of children working like that. We have laws, we have restrictions, and for McDonald's, Ronald McDonald in particular, because I know he's the guy that's behind it, to just sit there and say, hey, McDonald's land is just going to hire these unpaid children workers to be under the iron thumb of Mayor McCheese. It just doesn't make sense. I don't really understand why that would happen. We're just living in a world where nobody seems to question the fact that a large clown man and Mayor McCheese, a literal hamburger human hybrid, are working together to kidnap our children and make them work under this oppressive regime. I don't understand who is the person that's behind this. Is there somebody truly behind this? Is this a reflection of McDonald's themselves? I don't know. I try not to think of it too much, but it's something that invades my mind over and over again. So anyway, I was at the Taco Bell drive-thru, and I was driving it through, and I pull up, and you know how in drive-thrus they have that speaker that just sort of, it's the diet version of what you hear on the subway when you are on public transit. It's like this really distorted voice, and it's like, welcome to Taco Bell, how can I help you? And you don't know if the guy has said, how can I help you? Or if the guy has said, give me 5 more minutes. And so you just sit there and you're just like, you're not saying anything. You're just not trying to make the process go any faster or slower or anything. You don't want to be the inconvenience, because that just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And so you're sitting there and you're just wondering, what has he said? And then he's like, he does it again. He says it again. And you're just like, okay, he said it again. I'm going to go ahead and place this order. And so I start talking, and I'm like, hey, I want taco, I want a burrito, and all of that. And he's like, and I'm like, what has he said here? What has he said? What? And so I just start talking, and I'm like, what? And he's just like, and at this point I've just given up, and so I'll just wait, and I'll just wait for him to say something again, and I'll continue on with my order. And so he does, and I order, and then I'm on my way. And so while I was in the drive-thru for Taco Bell, I was listening to a lot of different music, and I typically have a wider array of music ideas, of music choice. I think it comes from me being in band a lot. That makes me really like the different types of music. Overall, I just want music that I can tell that you've worked on and you've worked hard on, as opposed to like music that I know has been lazily like slapped together. Like anybody can write a song with those same four chords and write vague ideas about love or loneliness or anything like that. Anybody can do that, honestly. But the people that I really like are the people that are able to like expand on that and like really work and really make something out of nothing. Make people remember why music is considered an art form, you know? You know, there are different people that can do that, you know. I personally like a lot of rap and a lot of hip hop, and I'm not necessarily the demographic for those types of things, but you know, I really like it, you know. Very word heavy, very poetic in a lot of cases. And then there are the hip hop artists that are, you know, they're a little more ignorant when it comes to it, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just more, instead of focusing on like trying to like deliver a super poignant message about life and about reality and the cosmos and all of that, they're more concerned about like making something that people enjoy listening to, you know. And I completely respect that. I really like that, you know. A good mixture of the two. I really like this guy named Quadeca. He's been the guy that I've listened to pretty often. He was my most listened person on my Spotify Wrapped last year, and I think he was like number 3 2 years ago. And so I've really come to like him. He hasn't released anything this past year, but I'm really hoping that something drops this year and I can keep on living in that nice world. But then you got that, and then you got me, who also likes stuff like, I really like concert band music, and I think that comes from me being in band in high school and middle school and all that, and still being pretty involved in the band programs at my college. I think that I'm always going to really appreciate that type of music, you know? I played this song in high school, and it was called Angels in the Architecture, and it was literally 15 minutes long. And it wasn't just a band piece, it had like these weird tubes that the percussion would have to twirl around, and it would have this choir singer that have to sing at the beginning and the end, and it was 15 minutes long. I can't stress this enough. 15 minutes. My band director in high school had his high school band play a 15-minute piece, and I will tell you, it was probably the most fun I've ever had in that class. There were so many aspects to it that I just had to keep on working at it and keep on evolving and growing and all of that, which is something I really like to do. I really like to be involved in that type of thing, you know? And I think everybody does. I think everybody has this sort of fixation on really wanting to do really well in all sorts of aspects of life. And I think that if we can find what we like and realize that we're good at it, then I think that's when we get to the point where we are actually successful and we are actually doing really good. I don't know though. I could be completely wrong about that whole thing. But I really do like Taco Bell. It's probably my favorite drive-through restaurant. That, and then of course ChickfilA right behind it. You know, Taco Bell, you know, I wasn't there. I wasn't around when they tried to like push this whole idea that like it's like a family friendly and like bring your family along type thing, and a lot of their old ad campaigns. I wasn't alive back then, which may be weird for a lot of people to hear, but yeah, I wasn't alive when Taco Bell was considered this like family restaurant, you know. I was alive when it was legit just Live Más, and they're still at that thing, because you know what? It works pretty well. It works pretty well. I think people really gravitate towards that slogan pretty well. I think that that's going to be something that happens for the next couple of years. And when it isn't that slogan, we riot. We riot, because that just wouldn't make sense. So I get out of the drive-thru for Taco Bell, and I'm driving home, and you know, the way that I have to drive home is really sketchy when it comes to one of the drive-thrus. I have to like go through a Fry's parking lot, and Fry's, oh my gosh, Grocery store parking lots are probably the worst thing to ever have happened in America post 2001. You know? Like, like 2001, yeah, I get it. Before 2001, okay, there was Pearl Harbor, there was all those wars, okay, I get it. You know, now there's COVID, but even that, you know, it's sort of neck and neck when it comes to grocery store parking lots. I do not understand why somebody decided that this was the most effective way to have everybody park. I'm not saying that I know a better way, but I'm just saying that people are legitimately paid to build parking lots and to like construct ideas for parking lots, and they've decided that the most effective way to do it is to just have one road that's right between the store and the parking lot to drop people off, to have the people go to their parking lot, and to have people drive through. And for whatever reason, that was the most that they thought of. That was the most idea. That was the greatest idea that they thought of. They took that to their boss and they said, "Here, this is the first grocery store parking lot." And the boss looked at it for 2 seconds and said, "Good," and nobody questioned it afterwards. It's ridiculous. So I have to drive through this freaking parking lot, and I'm driving through, and of course there's this little old lady, and she has her shopping cart, and she shouldn't even be shopping at this point, you know. She's like in her 70s, 80s. She shouldn't be shopping for herself. She should be able to have somebody do that for her, or have somebody else do that for her. But she's just pushing the shopping cart, and it's like full of like 2-week-old chickens. I don't get it. And like, of course, she has no concept of space and time because she's a freaking old lady, and so she's pushing the cart, and I'm trying to drive, and she just does not even see that I'm driving, and so she's at the thing, actively waiting, and then she just moves forward in the shopping cart, and I have to make this huge stop, and then the choice comes in my head. This is a 70 to 80-year-old lady who has probably got the right of way, and she's probably old and probably ancient and probably doesn't have the best eyesight. Do I honk the horn or not? And so that's the dilemma that comes into my head, right? Do I honk this horn or not? And you have a split second to do it, because if you don't do it in the split second that the actual thing happens, then there's no reason, and now you're absolutely a jerk. And so I mull it over and I realize, you know, it'd probably be a jerk thing to do to honk at this guy. And I don't really honk anyway. I don't really honk even if like my life was actually in danger, you know? I have to use the freeway a lot. A lot of people will just cut me off and just like, and I will pound the brake, and then I'll be like, "Hey, that wasn't very nice," and not even like bother honking. So it was a pretty easy choice to make, but you know, the little snake inside my brain was like, "You should honk the horn at the elderly lady." And I was like, "What? No, that's not what I'm going to do. That's actually ridiculous." Anyway, I do really like Taco Bell as a restaurant. I had a lot of friends that, you know, worked at Taco Bell, and they seem to think that it's relatively a good experience, you know, as any fast food establishment probably is or isn't, you know, up there. Taco Bell is probably ranked up there somewhere. And so, I don't know. I think that they seem to be doing something a lot of other places aren't. You know, they have maximized on the idea that they are the place to go if you just want to gorge, you know. You can't order more than like 3 things at most fast food restaurants, and that makes sense because you order your burger, your fries, and your drink, and that's it. And you know, if you are really hungry, what do? You don't order more things. You upsize the order that you already have, and even that is going to cost you several more dollars than it was before. At Taco Bell, oh, you want another taco? Here you go for $1. Dude, no freaking wonder there's an obesity problem in America when tacos are like 79 cents at a lot of places. You know, of course. It just makes sense, you know? And of course I get home, I like to do this thing when I have Taco Bell specifically, where I just huddle into my room and close the door, and I just enjoy it on the bed. You know, it's probably not a healthy thing, but I like to, well, I don't know if it's healthy or not, but I just like gorging out on Taco Bell by myself, and I don't want somebody walking and be like, oh, don't look at me. You know, I don't want that to be me. I want to live in happy ignorance that I can just do this and not be judged. You know, that's how I like to handle my Taco Bell experience. You know, I go home, I sit down, well, I lie down on my bed, and I just open up the first taco and I just bite, and it's probably the most memorable experience of my week. You know, it probably makes my week, especially in Rona times where, you know, you don't have a whole lot to do, you know? That's probably the best thing to do in the week, you know, just drive through somewhere, pick up some food, and then enjoy it by yourself. You know, take some time for yourself and enjoy it, you know? Anyway, I don't really know where I'm going with all of this, but what I do know is that, you know, Taco Bell as a franchise is really, really nice. And I really do enjoy it. And I really enjoy eating there. Anyway, this house is looking pretty good, you know. I was not very satisfied with my original house, so I'm just going to move here. And I think that that's going to be the perfect way to cap it off. So if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, get notifications, all of that. It's free. You can always change your mind. And I'll see you in the next video that I pop out. I really do hope that you've enjoyed these videos. All right. Take care.